a podcast by Cipra.
Il podcast della Cipra.
Le podcast de la Cipra.
Der Cipra Podcast.
Ciprim Podcast.
Interviews, background talks, and voices from all Alpine countries. Listen to this and more in the podcast of the International Commission for the Protection of the Alps, www.cipra.org/podcast.
Welcome to another edition of our Cipra podcast. Transport and mobility is one of the main causes of climate change. In the Alps, almost 30% of all greenhouse gases can be attributed to transport. And both passenger and freight traffic volumes are rising continuously. Travel through the Alps by train in a climate-friendly way with our project Youth Alpine Interrail, also known as YOALIN. Young adults traveled through the Alps by train in the summer of 2018 and 2019, making first-hand experiences with climate change and sustainable mobility. But what is really needed for climate-friendly travel in the Alps? On December 9th in 2020, YOALIN-travellers Luisa, Nicolas, Matevz, Natael and Laura discussed this with the following political representatives. Katharina Zwettler from the Austrian Federal Ministry for Climate Action of the Environment, Nature Conservation and Nuclear Safety. Blanka Bartol from the Slovenian Ministry of the Environment and Spatial Planning. Markus Becker, German Federal Ministry of Environment, Nature Conservation and Nuclear Safety. And Mariana Elmi, Deputy Secretary General of the Alpine Convention. During the next half hour, you will hear the second part of this discussion, hosted by Magdalena Christandl, one of the first YOALIN travelers.
I would like to ask Laura, because she's also involved in mindset changing processes, I would like to call it. Laura, you were also traveling with the YOALIN and you are a member of the organization Rehab. Maybe could you tell us how, as a part of Rehab, how do you motivate people to collect trash or like to think about sustainability? Could you share your experiences, please, with us?
Of course, it's quite like it's kind of an environmental psychology behind it. When we take that approach, we were like, when you have a habit, it normally comes from doing it frequently and connecting a feeling to it. So like the ultimate goal for us, I would say, is to make environmental thinking or environmental action a habit. And that's what we're trying to do. There's lots of knowledge out there how harmful different kinds of transportation, like going by car or going by plane is, but only knowing doesn't motivate people to actually doing something. So what we're trying to do with the organization I'm part of, like Rehab, our motto is, in German, it would be einfach mal machen. In English, it would be just do it. So to get people into action quickly, in order to generate hopefully positive feelings with that action. And when you do it repetitively, then it can become with the associated with the positive feeling a habit. And then you can incorporate more into your normal life. And that's basically what we're trying to do, to lower the entry barrier to really do something. Because I think that's also one big major issue that many people have, although they think, okay, how can I get involved? How can I get engaged? How can I get active? What is out there? But then, okay, you have, you're not sure what can I really do? And just giving them a point to start, a very easy one. For example, for me, it was quite nice how I joined this whole thing. Was basically I got an email from a university where they invited for a changemaker seminar, and there this organization Rehab just introduced themselves, and they were saying, okay, if you want to continue working on your ideas that you just created during the seminar, you can just come around and join and see what develops out of that. So I think a big issue is really lowering entry barriers, making easy steps, small steps, and also communicating, okay, if you're doing a small step, then it's already something in the right direction. You don't have to change the world on one day. It's basically small steps and then getting involved, and then you can think about the bigger picture as well. So individual action on the one hand, but also the community on the other hand. Like, for example, what we have with YOALIN is very inspiring. I still have contact with some of the YOALINs, and it's so empowering to have a network that stands behind you and is pursuing the same ideas that you have, and that can give you a lot of strength once you entered the whole thinking process. So I think that's two parts.
Yeah. Thank you, Laura. Yeah, I'm also proud of our YOALIN community. So we need more communities. That's true. Yeah, let's go to our YOALIN community. Matevz, you are also part of the YOALIN community. I would like to ask you, Matevz, as you're like a traveler and a mountain guide to be, what do you think is missing for the young people to motivate them to stay at home in the Alps for the holidays and not flying to Mallorca for 10 euros?
I don't really think that anything is missing. It's probably there's probably more factors why people are not going rather than why they should go. Because Alps have so much to offer. They have super rich culture, super diverse. They have amazing views, amazing ski resorts, climbing, hiking destinations. And people travel on the other side of the globe to experience such things while we have all of that in our backyards. In my mind, it's more of a question why people don't come here rather than why they should go, because simply put, I think Europe in general is one of the most culture and naturally rich parts of the earth, and there's just so much to see, and Alps are even more intense than that. So yeah, it's hard to describe everything that's to do and to see here, but I'm certain that there's definitely something for everyone, and no doubt that with just a little bit of help, young people would definitely want to consider Alps rather than flying to, I know, Greece or Egypt or, I know, Southeast Asia. There's definitely a great alternative in Alps.
That's true. Yeah, the Alps have a lot to offer. While you are traveling the Alps, how do you deal with the last mile if the train is not going to the mountain you would like to climb? Do you have some experiences?
Well, of course, you always try to either hitchhike or arrange some other type of transport, but if there's no other possibility, you just walk. You have to consider that. And if you're going to mountains, you're going there to walk, so don't try to ride as high as you can.
That's true. That's a really wise word. Thank you, Matevz. Eva, she's also from Slovenia, like Matevz, and she was also traveling in last summer. Which experiences did you make while traveling with YOALIN? Is there like just going on the train is enough, or do we need to prepare us and to plan everything in advance?
Hi. So for me, I was traveling with two other girls. So maybe a difficult thing for us was a change of mentality, because we didn't travel in this way in the past. We were like, easy travelers, as we were talking about before, like maybe just going on a destination and then do things there. But then with joining this project, we got some other insights what we could do. So we tried to just have an open mind And we actually, when we started traveling, we didn't really make any long-term plans what we want to do. So we were mostly like asking local people what would they maybe recommend for us to do, so we would get the most out of the experience. So maybe some things that aren't possible to be found on the internet. And also for us, this was like a good way to experience more local communities.
Okay, that's great that you made these experiences while you are in. Maybe one more really short question. If all cars stop working tomorrow, would that change something for you, or are you saying, I don't care?
Yes, I think it would, because still some destinations are not possible to be accessed just by local transports. So still, I think that we are very dependent of cars. So if in this moment this would happen, I think it would be a problem. But maybe in the future, it will be less and less of a problem.
Okay, so hopefully we just need some more years cars and then we don't need them anymore. That would be great. Thank you, Eva. So let's travel to France for our next YOALIN guest, Natael. He's working as a consultant to implement the youth participation in the Alps. So I would like to ask Natael, what do you think? I mean, you are working a lot with young people. What do you think their wishes are for more sustainability in the Alps?
I will talk about youth participation, so sustainability, but also youth participation in general. And I think first, I must say that young people should not be seen as one group, and more like a group of individuality and not as one group. So I think this is something very important, because we have these habits to simplify everything nowadays. And I think this is sometimes a mistake. And then what do young people need to implement their ideas for a more sustainable society? I think they must to be listened, they must to be trusted, so taken seriously. I think some of young people talked about it just before. They need opportunities to be part of the decision, be part of one organization. So I can talk about job opportunities, trainees, internship. They need to be empowered. So for that, they need sometimes financial support. They need trainings. They need to meet, to talk. So between them, also between with the politicals. So financial support, for example, if you have to meet somewhere, a lot of young people don't have the money to go to this meeting, and that has to be planned by the organization in order to allow them to go. And also I think that the organizations and the politics must be more flexible and adapt to the young people, to give them the time to do their actions and to really adapt the tools and the methods that they offer, but there is a long list of what do they need, I guess. So, and I don't want to be part of this simplification of what is youth and youth participation as well.
Okay, thank you, Natael. And one more short question. How does the perfect holiday in the Alps look like for you?
Yeah, being home, I guess I'm born in the Alps, so it's not so hard. And since the lockdown, I think we have to get used to stay home and to stay close to our surrenders. I guess we are lucky to live in the Alps. Like Matevz said, we have so many things to do. I bought some snow racket. It's like things to go walk on the snow yesterday for this weekend. So I think we have so many things to do in the Alps, and we are lucky about that. And yeah, the perfect is to just explore our surrenders. And I think this is very, very easy to do so in the Alps. And we have to also change our way, as Matevz said, change our way of traveling, because the progress pushes us to always go further and faster. But when you go around you, you see what distance really means, because when you go to the mountains around you, you go by walk, you go by bike, and the distance is so much different than when you take a plane, car, or train, So when I went from here, Chambéry, to München for my Erasmus, I took my bike for 10 days. And that's when I really realized what is the distance, because right now I think we lost these meanings of what is distance. So this is something really important.
That's true. Yeah. So the bike is becoming more important than ever, I guess. That's great. Thank you, Natael, for your answers. Now I would like to ask all of you in one short sentence, maybe two, to sum it up. How can we get from saying to doing? Maybe we can start with Mariana.
Many participants to the YOALIN said, yeah, we talk with politicians and they don't listen and nothing changes. And then how can we do that? Maybe you don't like what I'm going to say, but why don't you try to change also things from the inside? I know that politics is not very appealing to a lot of people. And I know that sometimes we really do not have the best people in politics. But I would say as a voter, as a person who votes, I would really vote one of you guys, YOALIN guys, if you would decide, to take action. So, yeah, I think we can change a lot of things from the outside, but I think that somehow we need also to change the political system and also how it is inside. So I would really encourage people to start thinking about, changing things from the inside, getting the power and make a change also in that way.
Okay, thank you, Mariana. Katharina, what do you think about it?
What I really would like to say to all of you is keep on going. Do what you do. Do it with consciousness. Do it with power. Do it with great engagement. Be the dog that bites in the feet of politicians. Maybe this is something that I should not say, but I do. Be the biting dog. Don't always be comfortable or nice and friendly, but be precise and say what you wish for. And you wished for a YOALIN ticket during the summer. You got it. I know it's only 100% of you, but at least you got it. So stay active. That's my simple message. Thank you. And thank you for organizing this. These events are very important to keep in mind that there are more people who are encouraged, who are engaged, and talk about it. Thank you.
Thank you, Katharina. We will try to keep biting. Blanka, what do you think? Do we need?
It was interesting to listen also to the YOALINs, people from YOALIN that experienced a lot in those years. So I think that you all gained a lot of good experiences, and I think that they should be promoted whenever it is possible. And I think that people are really inspired by them, or can be inspired, or you should seek for inspiring them. And in this way, a change can be also made. I mean, the first place that you have inspiration and you're inspired by someone, and then you try to change something. And as Katharina said, keep going, because you should work on this constantly, not saying, okay, now we have done this for 5 years and then, okay, not major changes didn't appear yet, but you have to be persistent in this.
Okay. Yeah, that's true. Thank you, Blanka. Markus Becker, what do you think is missing from saying to doing?
Most of the important things have been said, and I think like the whole system is dependent from push and pull factors. Of course, we need many pull factors, so we need a good offer, a good mindset, and we need good opportunities to take sustainable choices. And I would like to emphasize maybe again the push factors. So we need to end fossil fuel subsidies also in transportation wherever they occur, and we need to internalize the external costs associated with transportation. And I think these two are major tasks, and this is in particular true for international transportation. So I think we can see that the EU is already struggling hard to discuss the taxation of aviation, for instance. I think also in the political discussion about the climate action plan of the Alpine Convention, it was already a little bit noticeable that even bilateral or multilateral member state agreements on different, say, treatment of transportation might be difficult to achieve. So I think these two, the internalization of external costs and ending fossil fuel subsidies are really important as push factors as well. And but also saying this is a major task and we need to work hard in order to be successful here.
Thank you. Yeah, we have a lot to do, a lot to work on. Thank you, Markus Becker. So I would also like to ask the YOALINs about how we can get from saying to doing, maybe in one short sentence. That would be great. Maybe we can start with Nicolas again.
Okay, I'm going to say something that probably wouldn't require a big debate afterwards, but from going to saying to doing, I would say to be radical in our choices. I don't want to say use your car as little as possible, but don't even own a car. We can be radical if we want to be coherent about what we truly believe, even if it takes a lot of effort.
That's true. Really wise words. Thank you, Nicolas. Luisa, what are your thoughts about it?
Yeah, how to say it as short as possible. I think if you already care about the issues, then it doesn't take much to go from saying to doing. Then it just needs to start somewhere and do a very small thing, whatever it is. Take the public transport one time to go to the mountains instead of your car like you usually do. That's how you get from saying to doing. But on a more societal level, I absolutely don't have the answer to it, because I don't know whether we can make everyone in our society actually care about the issues, and whether it doesn't need big enough portion of the society caring about it, but the other half kind of being dragged behind because the systemic regulations are in a way that incentivize it.
Laura, what do you think?
Maybe beyond the only, I mean, one big point, as I already said, is the get people connecting information with feelings for making the habit, but also give people room for experiencing. For example, I would say when we're also busy with our daily lives, we don't have the room for trying something new out, or we feel too overwhelmed. And maybe also changing that system that we say, okay, we dedicate 10% of our working time for doing something extraordinary, and then we get inspired and and change our lives.
Okay, yeah, that would be great if we could spend more time for the good things. Matevz, what do you think do we need for the doing and being?
I think we should primarily lead by example, because there's enough to do and see, and there are good reasons behind our actions. So people just need to be introduced to our ideas, and if we keep on doing them, they'll realize their benefits. And in the end, I think many will be drawn to them without some special things, just our own commitment to them and doing what we stand behind.
Yeah, that's also true, Matevz. Thank you. Eva, I would like to hear also your opinion about saying and doing. How can we do it?
Yeah, so I think that we should start with the education of children, because, for example, if you start living with nature from a young age, then you will also, like in the long run, you will feel a deeper emotional connection with it, and you would also fight stronger for it than, for example, if you try to just change an opinion of someone who is older. So I think that this, in a long run, would be very practical.
The kids are a key element. That's true. So Natael, you are working with young people. What are you thinking about from saying to doing?
Yeah, I agree with, of course, with Eva about the fact that we have to educate. Also, I think that we have a lot of privilege to talk about it, and not everyone has the same level of awareness about these topics. And I think that we also have to really think more global and see how we can really like spread this way of thinking and way to act, not as wealthy as us people, you know, because I think I see around me in my neighborhood, there is a lot of trash on the ground, and I think it's because I'm living in a neighborhood where people are not as educated and as different needs, and I think more needs that are like to eat and to just find a job instead of really thinking about how we can save the planet, you know. So I think that we really have to think like we are the one that has a lot of privilege to be able to take time, has said Laura, to that, you know. And I think we have to educate for that, yes, for sure.
This was the second part of our discussion about climate-friendly mobility, hosted by Magdalena Christandl from our project Youth Alpine Interrail. You can find out more about this project on YOALIN.org. My name is Michael Gams. Thank you for listening.
A podcast by Cypra.
Il podcast della Cipra.
Le podcast de la Cipra.
Der Cypra Podcast.
Cyprim Podcast.
Interviews, background talks, and voices from all Alpine countries. Listen to this and more in the podcast of the International Commission for the Protection of the Alps, www.cypra.org/podcast.